Dietitian, and welcome to Healthy Made Simple, where I show you how to make healthy eating simple. This is the start of yet another 3-part series where I'm going to be showing you how I meal plan and meal prep for my family to create 5 healthy dinners. Now in this first video, I'm going to be showing you how I did the meal planning part. In part 2 of the series, I'm going to be showing you how I meal prep in advance to make it easier for me the day of to have some ingredients and some components of my meals that are already pre-cooked and prepped. And in part 3 of the series, I'm going to be showing you what kind of meal prepping I do the day of, as well as how all of these meals turned out. Now, when I talk about meal planning and meal prepping, my definition is slightly different. For me, when I think meal planning in general, based on what social media tells us, what I imagine is you gotta find some recipes, put together a grocery list, get all the stuff cooked in advance, put into little individual containers to be used throughout the week. Now, I've done this kind of meal planning and prepping before, and it doesn't work for us in the long term. To me, it's a lot of effort, especially ones that you have to take on the weekend, that I just really don't have the time for. I don't have a huge chunk of time on the weekends where I could research a bunch of recipes and grocery shop and meal prep all of that so that it's ready for the week. So instead, I do something that's kind of an in-between, where I'm still planning my meals in advance, because we do know that when we plan our meals in advance, we're bound to make healthier, better choices, because we're thinking logically, right? Versus when it's the day of, maybe you're an hour out from dinner and your hunger is kicking in. That's when your hunger is really making a lot of the decisions, because you want something that's going to be quick, that it's going to fulfill you right in that moment. And for me, I know that if I don't have something already planned ahead, or maybe some easier alternatives in my fridge or freezer, what I'm going to end up going to is that hunger is going to take over and I'm going to want to order takeout just so I can get something quickly. So this is to help avoid those situations, to think ahead to what's going to be coming up during the week and plan some meals ahead of time that we know are going to be healthier options. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video, part 1 of the series. I'm going to be talking about how I meal planned these 5 healthy meals for the week. And the way I do my meal planning is slightly different as well. I don't come up with the recipes first and then grocery shop later. I actually grocery shop first and then put together my recipes accordingly. So what that means is that I cater to what we're craving for the week. Instead of finding recipes that sound good in that moment, we go grocery shopping together as a family. We pick the protein and the vegetables that we want to eat for dinner that week, and then we build our meals around that. And that can be a little bit of a longer grocery trip, but for me, it saves me time in the long run of having to look up recipes. But instead, I kind of rely on my knowledge and my basic cooking skills to be able to whip up some healthy meals at home. So that's what I'm going to be showing you. I'm going to be showing you the grocery shopping we did, what ingredients I'm going to be using for this meal planning for the week. And we bought a lot of our items from Costco this week. I also have some items from Trader Joe's as well. But when we do shop at Costco, since it's such a big bulk, I try to get more meals out of the same item and try to find creative ways to use the same item, especially if I bought a big vegetable item, for example, that's going to last us for multiple meals. I try to find different ways of incorporating that, at least different ways of seasoning it and flavoring it for different meals in order to create variety while also making it easier for myself to meal prep. All right, so let's get started. Let me show you how I meal planned 5 healthy dinners for us for this upcoming week. Let's go. So here is the meal planner that I'm going to be using for our meal planning, and this right side is the grocery list side. So on this side is where I'm going to be putting down the ingredients that I'm going to be using for my meal planning for the week. And you can see it's divided into components, and you can definitely use this as a grocery list as well if you wanted to get multiple uses out of this meal planner. And I will include a link for this in the description of the video. And this left-hand side is where you are going to be doing your meal planning, where you're going to write down the meals that you're going to be putting together. And we're going to be focusing on the dinners with this video. Alrighty, so the first ingredient that I'm going to be using is this bag of squash that I got from Costco, and it's a mix of both yellow and green squash. And this is a very large bag of squash. I believe there were maybe 7 or 8 in there. So this is going to make multiple meals for me for the week. And I'm going to add that to my list. So this is what I'm going to be doing as I'm meal planning. I'm going to be taking the ingredients, putting them on the list, and coming up with meal ideas along the way. And I always pick up salad kits when we go to any grocery store, and I have this Mediterranean Crunch Kit one, and this one has a vinaigrette for the dressing, which I always prefer if I can, just to help cut back on some of the sugar and the sodium that can typically be in a vinaigrette. And it's a nice mix of veggies, and this is a pretty large bag, so this will make at least 2 meals for us, I think, or at least some sort of leftovers for lunch. So I'm going to be putting that on my list too. And anytime I'm going through this list, I'm always putting in the fresh items first, including this Queso Crunch salad kit. Again, another salad kit with a mix of greens. This one's more iceberg lettuce based, I believe. And it's also got the toppings in there too. This one's from Costco as well. But when I'm putting these guys on my list, what I'm focusing on is making sure that any fresh items that I bought that are going to expire, those are the ones that I want to target first to make sure they get incorporated into my meal planning, including these beautiful avocados that I got from Costco. Avocados are a great source of healthy fats, so anytime you can incorporate them into your meals, highly suggest it, and try to get a bag that's a variety of both darker and lighter ones so that you can kind of use them throughout and they're ripening as you use them throughout as well. So I'll add those to my list. And then cucumbers are a really easy vegetable to be able to incorporate. So if you're not big on vegetables, I highly suggest looking into cucumbers. They're crunchy, they don't have a very strong flavor to them. So that's an easy way of getting more vegetables. It doesn't always have to be leafy greens. Cucumbers still count for your vegetable intake for the week. So if you want to use items like cucumbers to help add more veggies to your diet, that's a wonderful choice. And then I have this crushed garlic. I get these from Trader Joe's. This makes having garlic readily available, already chopped, crushed up for me, very easy. This is in the frozen aisle. It comes in these frozen cubes that you can just toss in when you're meal prepping. So I always like to keep things like this on hand to make meal prepping easier and less time consuming for myself. So I will add that to my list as well. And then now we're going to move on to some more protein options. I got this vegetable, shrimp, and stir-fry kit that comes with both vegetables in there and the shrimp. And it comes with sauce packets too. And I know the sauce packets are a little bit higher in sodium and sugar in this one, so maybe using those more sparingly. But I always try to incorporate seafood at least 1 meal a week. And the stir fry and shrimp kit was a nice change of pace than what we would typically do, which would be salmon. So I'm going to put that as part of my protein that I'm going to be incorporating, and that will likely be a weekend meal just because that's going to be a little bit more time consuming. And then I got these fully cooked chicken breast bites from Costco, and these are a great alternative if you want to incorporate more chicken, and they come in 10 packs like this, 10 individual packs. Chicken is a great source of lean protein, and if you don't have that time to grill chicken at home, this is a great way of having some pre-cooked chicken that you can throw into salads and wraps and any really meal that you're going to be doing. And I think I'm going to be incorporating that in some sort of a quesadilla for this week because I know we're craving a quesadilla. As well as some other options. And then the only meat that I am going to be cooking this week is going to be ground turkey. And I get this one from Costco. I buy the organic kind mainly because my son eats the ground turkey more than we do. And this is 1.5 pounds for 1 pack. I believe usually they come in either 2 or 3 packs. And I always purchase our protein from Costco like this and stick them in my freezer to be defrosted and used over time. So in the second part of this series, in part 2, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to cook that ground turkey to be incorporated into multiple meals throughout the week because I want to use that ground turkey with that big bag of squash that we have going. And I also got this big bag of Mexican style blend cheese. This is a 2-pack that comes from Costco. If you use cheese a lot in your household, it's a great cost-effective way of buying cheese for the home. It's very expensive at the grocery store nowadays, and this was way more affordable. And this is gonna last us a long time. So I picked up a big bag, and I count cheese as my protein, but I'm also mindful that it is higher in the fat content. So I wanna use that sparingly. Now this next section I'm going to relabel as carbs. These are going to be my carbs that I'm going to use throughout the week. The first one being these noodles that I got from Trader Joe's. These are very simple to cook up. They're actually surprisingly a little bit higher in both protein, I believe, and in the fiber, slightly more fiber, but it's got about 12 grams of protein in there, which I thought was pretty impressive considering it's just some noodles, and it comes in a pack like that with a soy and sesame sauce. And I'm thinking I'm going to use these noodles with that stir fry and shrimp kit to make some sort of a veggie shrimp noodle dish. And it already comes with sauces, so that should be easy to do. Next, I've got brown rice, and this is frozen brown rice from Trader Joe's, which I buy frequently because it just makes it easier to warm up the day of to incorporate into any dish. Anytime I'm using brown rice like this, most likely what I'm going to do is combine that with a protein, which most likely will be my ground turkey, as well as some vegetables, which is probably going to be my squash. So that can be an easy meal. I'm thinking to use brown rice as my carb base to be incorporated with my protein and vegetables for the week. I'm also going to be using some tortillas. I like to buy carb balanced tortillas that are lower in carbs, higher in fiber, higher in protein. I like these ones. I get these ones from Costco, the Mission ones. Those are a little bit bigger in size. And then I like these smaller ones from Trader Joe's, which are the carb savvy tortillas made with whole wheat. And these are a smaller portion size. And I'm actually going to be using both of those for this week because I'm thinking maybe some sort of a quesadilla one day with the bigger one, and then some sort of a taco type thing on another day with the smaller one. And then pasta. Pasta is something that we cook on a regular basis. This time around, I'm going to be using this brown rice penne pasta, and my goal with pasta is just to get a version that's going to be higher in fiber to make it more filling. So I like to go for either brown rice or whole wheat options. And then of course, pasta sauce that goes with it. This time I'm using this Muir Glen roasted garlic one. I like that this one is no sugar added. That's one of the main things I look for in pasta sauce is how much sugar is added in there, how much sodium does it add. And I also like to look at the ingredients, since I'd like to see that the first ingredient on there is some sort of a tomato product. And this one I actually picked up from Sprouts while we were shopping, and I always like to keep pasta sauce on hand and just try to make a healthier choice by grabbing an option that's going to be lower in sugar and lower in sodium so that I can easily make pasta meals throughout the week. All right. And that's all the ingredients that I have. Not a lot going on this week. We're just going to try to use the same products for multiple things to create those meals together. But these are all the different ingredients that I have. So what I'm going to do, I've already been brainstorming how I'm going to put all of this together. But now what I'm going to do is just separate it onto days. So for Monday, I'm going to use that ground turkey that I'm going to be cooking up, that squash that I'm going to be cooking up, as well as brown rice, and just eating that kind of like a bowl. And Mondays are busy days for us, so Monday I want to keep to something that I'm just going to microwave and heat up. So that seems like a good option for us for Monday, and maybe finding a different way of kind of seasoning it and adding a sauce on top the day of too. Now on Tuesday, I'm going to have a little bit more time. So this is what I'm thinking. I want to make that chicken quesadilla that I was talking about, using the tortillas, the bigger tortillas, the cheese that I showed you, that pre-cooked chicken, and then also using a salad kit on the side to be my vegetables. So that's an easy, simple meal, a quesadilla with a side salad, and that's going to use a multiple of those ingredients that I have on my list. Now on Wednesday, we can go back to what we were doing before with the ground turkey, now that I had a break from ground turkey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the ground turkey with that squash, and instead of a quesadilla type thing, I'm thinking maybe like a taco, and I'll use the avocados and mash those up almost like a guacamole. And then I have that spicy avocado salad kit, so maybe I can incorporate that as well into some sort of a taco with a salad kit on the side kind of a thing. I don't know if it'll hold well as a taco, but my idea is to use that tortilla as my carb base for this meal. Now on Thursday, instead, we're going to be going back to chicken to kind of switch between turkey and chicken. And this time around, I'm thinking I'm going to use that chicken and I'm going to use the squash mix. There's a lot of squash, so I think I can get 3 meals out of that squash. And I'm going to use that pre-cooked chicken with the squash mix to make a pasta dish. So I'll use that pasta that I showed you, the brown rice pasta, as well as that pasta sauce, and put together a pasta meal that's going to incorporate chicken as the protein, squash as the vegetables, and then I got the pasta as my carbs. Now for the weekend, that's when I'm going to make that stir fry kit, that stir fry with shrimp and the noodles. I think that's going to be a little bit more of an intensive meal, and I think I'll have more time for that on Saturday. So that's what I'm planning on adding for my Saturday meal. And as you can see, I skipped Fridays and Sundays because those are the days that we typically tend to dine out, maybe order out some food or grab some takeout. So this helps cover 5 days out of my week. And then you can see I checked off cucumbers and garlic because cucumbers will be thrown in there at some point and garlic will be used to cooked. And here are all the meals: the turkey, squash, and brown rice for Monday, chicken quesadilla with salad kit for Tuesday, the turkey squash taco with some mashed avocados and salad on Wednesday, the chicken squash and pasta on Thursday, and the stir fry and shrimp with noodles on Saturday. All right, so we'll get going on this, and this will be the plan for the week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped give you a different view of meal planning for the week, and how instead of trying to make this a big hassle, you can just use meal planning as an opportunity to think ahead to the meals that are coming up and utilize tools like that meal planner that I showed you, maybe in different ways, to come up with some meal planning options that are going to work for you and your family and make it feasible and sustainable for you in the long run. If you set up a routine that you know you're going to be able to stick to in the long run, it's going to be way more effective than trying to do the perfect meal planning and prepping out there maybe 1 or 2 weeks. So find a routine that works for you. Now stay tuned for part 2 of the series, where I'm going to be showing you how I meal prepped that squash that I bought for this week, as well as the ground turkey that I'm going to be cooking up, and both of those are going to be components in multiple meals for the week. So I'm going to show you how I cook those up in a very simple way. It's not going to be like a recipe that I follow, but just basic cooking skills I use, and the spices and flavorings that we like as a family. That kind of goes for anything that we cook in the house. So stay tuned for part 2 of the series so that you can get a view of the meal prepping. And then in part 3, I'm going to be showing you how all of these meals turned out, as well as any prepping that I did the day of to make them happen. Thank you so much for watching Healthy Made Simple. If you like the content that I produce, please subscribe to help my channel grow. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, please feel free to leave a comment down below with your suggestions, and I would love to take a look at them. I hope this helps give you ideas about how to make healthy eating simple for you. Thanks again for following along, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.